to the cloud. Let's see. Okay. So Ryan, I was just kind of raving about who you were while you were gone there for a minute and your background. So he's kind of been there, done it all. He's even contemplating, because somebody that gets team building and real estate at such a high level can at any point say, I'm going to start up a team again, or I'm going to start up the sales business again, because it becomes where it's not so much about leads. There's a great book from Dr. Benjamin Hardy called Who Not How. And Ryan exemplifies that, because if he decided to start up a team again, it wouldn't be about how, it would be about who. Who am I going to choose to do that with me? Like, what powerful leader can I attract? And so the reason I asked Ryan to be a guest speaker today, we had reconnected after many years of not seeing each other. And it was mostly because he had stayed in the Keller Williams system for a while, long after I left, and had some real successes. He, for a long time, managed managers, which is a very, running a real estate office can be a stressful job, but managing a bunch of managers and, putting minimum standards in place and helping people to set goals for recruiting, for profitability. We used to call it growth, productivity, profitability, and culture. And those four things were very, very important. So I'm glad that we have a chance for all of you to listen to a conversation between Ryan and I, such that you understand. If you still look at the idea that growth, profitability, productivity, and culture apply to your individual sales business, even if you are an individual agent and you are working alone and you don't have a team, it's still, those four things are very, very, very important: growth, productivity, profitability, and culture. Now, you may or may not be writing those down, but remember what I said about the people I want to surround myself. You've all heard me say it before: are hungry, humble, smart, and coachable. So if I can keep the upper business idea as sort of the 30,000 foot view, growth, productivity, profitability, and culture, in how I'm going to run my real estate business, because you got to remember, if you are running a business and it has no culture, then the consumer is not really going to be attracted to it. They might for one time, but it's not going to bring them back over and over again, right? It's the reason, like our team, we just started doing events. We should have been doing events years ago. I did it a couple years ago, but then we never got consistent about it. But we just did one, and now we're going to be really consistent about having 4 events a year. So those are the things. The reason I wanted Ryan to talk to you is Ryan has worked through both.
Hey, Rick, you're cutting out. You're cutting out. Is that me or you?
I don't know. Let's ask a couple of people. Am I cutting out to anybody here?
Not to me.
Okay.
Not me. You're fine.
Okay.
Not here.
There's your answer, Ryan. I think we lost Ryan. Oh, there he is. Okay. Did you hear everybody, Ryan?
Rick, it's cutting out for me as well.
Oh, it is. Okay. Are you in your car, Betty? Let's see. Okay. I'm on a pretty powerful Wi-Fi right now, but I don't know. Let me.
There you go.
Okay. Can everybody give me a thumbs up? Oh, it's saying my internet connection is unstable. What the hell? I'm at home. That never happens. Now I can never say it never happens again. Hold on one second. All right. Okay. Is that better now? Everybody give me a thumbs up if you're... Everybody can hear me? Okay, good. All right. So Ryan, how's your reception now? Can you hear me okay? Ryan's frozen. Thank you, Sherry. Let's see. Oh, we lost Ryan again. Well, I guess it must be Ryan's connection. Oh, no, there's Ryan. He's now down at the bottom of my screen. There he is. He's moving around. Did I lose him again? No, there he is. Ryan? Ryan, if you can hear me, you're on mute, brother. Okay, so I'm gonna, there you go. There you go. Can you hear me,
Is that
Brian?
better?
Yeah, there you go. All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but let me go off and I'll come back on.
Okay, great. Okay, in the meantime, guys, I want to share something with everybody here, and you can use this or not use this, but I think it's valuable. And that is, yesterday, my wife and I were asked to speak at an event. There was supposed to be 4 or 5 speakers, and apparently a few people canceled. And it ended up being me for 40 minutes, Casey for 40 minutes, and then Brent Gove, who's a good friend of ours, very sought after speaker and trainer in the real estate industry. And then he went on for 90 minutes after we each did 40 minutes. And it was absolutely incredible. Like, I've been doing this for 42 years. I've heard hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of speakers in my career. And he was so good. Like it didn't matter what I delivered or what Casey delivered, even though we felt we did great and we got applause and comments and all of that. Brent was incredible. Now, the reason I wanted to share that with you really quickly is that Brent has a YouTube channel, and you can find it by going to brentgove.com and then finding the YouTube channel, or you can just go to YouTube and search out Brent Gove, BRENTGOVE. And he puts all of his trainings on recordings, and then they get posted to YouTube. And I would definitely, if I were you, find that. He called it the Get Results program. That's what it was called, Get Results. So keep an eye on his, I don't think it'll be there for probably another week or so, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know how his team works. But if I were you, I would definitely grab that YouTube and listen. It was probably the best 90 minutes I've heard in a long time. It's a total of about 3 hours if you include me, Casey, and then Brent. It was really, really, really great. And a lot of good tidbits in there. Balia, you were there. What were your thoughts about the event and what you heard from Brent, et cetera?
It was my first time to hear him speak, and he's definitely dynamic. It was just a great overall seminar that I attended for the first time as a new XP. So I highly recommend it. If he does come back or he does another event, if you can attend it, definitely do that and bring some guests with you as well.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was up in Placer County, but there were a lot of people that drove more than 2 hours to get there to hear the 3 hours worth of talking. So Placer, and for the people that are in Oklahoma, yeah, it would have been a several day drive, but don't worry about it. You can pick it up on YouTube. So, and of course, Tristan, who's in Minnesota, you wouldn't have wanted to drive either, but still good. All right. So do we see Ryan? Is Ryan on? I don't see him anywhere again. I think he's definitely having some tech problems. So let's go with this since I don't have Ryan on. I'd love to talk for a minute about dealing with real estate during the shift. Let's see. He's texting me. It must be because we're all here and doing well. Okay. He just said, is it only on my end? And I said, it must be because we're doing fine. Let's see. He's coming on again. Yeah, so if we can get him, we'll get him on. And if not, then I'll start going in a different direction because I did have, okay, Ryan, you can unmute. We got you back.
I'll put you on my phone because for some reason my iPad's not working. Let's just see if I can set you up on my phone. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's okay. You actually sound really clear right now, so that's good to hear.
Okay, well, let's see. You're going to be on my phone. So
that's okay. Oh, that's fine.
We can see. Okay.
We just need to hear your voice, and of course, your long curly locks.
There you go, Goldilocks.
There you go. Good. All right. Great. Well, good to have you, and thank you for joining us. You're in Palmdale, California, right now, or Lancaster? Or where are you at?
Yeah. Apparently, where there's no Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Well,
it's called middle of nowhere. They also call it BFE, things like that.
Yeah.
No Wi-Fi.
Well, you are in the, what do we call it? The high desert or the low desert? I don't forget what we call it.
It feels, no, I'm kidding. It's the high desert.
Yeah.
It's the high.
Okay.
It's definitely we're stuck in a valley over here. We're surrounded by mountains, very hot, very cold. But you know what? It's you get this about me. It's where my kids are.
Yeah.
Right? They moved away 12 years ago. I followed. They moved back. I followed. So
Yeah.
until they're all grown up.
Yeah.
Right?
You're a great dad. So so the thing that, like I said to everybody here, we've been talking about speaking and talking about what we can do differently in real estate. One of the things that came up in the seminar that we were at yesterday was it still works to do door knocking. You just might have to knock on a lot more doors. It still works to do open houses. You just might have to hold more and more hours of open houses. So everything still works. You just want to do more of it. But Ryan, since you coach teams and agents, individual agents, you've brought a lot of people from smaller individual agents up into big teams. Tell us what you're talking to people about now, about how to deal with real estate in the shift, and also include some of your own story, because you had a really big team. You went through the REO shift and all of that stuff. So share with everybody some of the lessons you've learned and what you coach people to do differently now.
Yeah, the market shift is a really interesting thing because having only been through one and now going through, I think, another one, right? I remember in 2005, 6, 7, I mean, I was slammed. I was 33 deals my first year, 60 the next. Like, I was super busy. And towards the end of 07, I remember my team leader coming to me and going, it was not even towards the end, it's probably the middle. And she said, are you applying for REOs? What are you doing? Are you doing BPOs? And at that time, I believed that you had to have a lot of money to do it. You had to have the bank reserves. You had to have the experience. And so I said, no, I'm selling land, and they're large commissions, and I'm happy doing that. And she's like, well, you better watch it. And sure enough, my land deal started backing out. And I remember thinking, was I a one-hit wonder? Was this like 3 or 4 years, bang, and I'm out? Like, because I have no deals. And I just buckled down and started applying for REOs. And probably my biggest thing back then was mindset. I believed that it was too late. I believed that it was too hard. I believed that I didn't have enough money. Thank God I was able to, go inside and work on my mindset. I ended up selling that year in 2018, 210 REOs. So it was my biggest year. I had REOs up and down the state. Not being active in sales today, right? But having very active clients that I coach. Rick, I don't know what you guys are hearing or what you're feeling, and I'm totally open to like go back and forth on this, but it seems very similar to, I mean, very similar. Yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine who's in real estate up in SAC, and she's telling me stories, and she says, but I don't think there's going to be a big dip. I don't think we're going to see, I don't think this is going to happen. And I go, but everything else is happening.
Yeah.
Everything else is happening. So I don't know. I don't know that we're going to get slammed. Who knows? No one knows, right? I don't know that we're going to get slammed by whatever, right? Go ahead.
No. And I appreciate that your honesty there, because there's so many things that would lead you to believe, as even economists are saying, that there's still such a big housing shortage in the United States, across the United States, something like 5 million housing units short, based on the job market and the number. And I've shared it with this group before, but not with you personally, but that there are about 55 million more 30 somethings in the marketplace now than there were in 2008. So if you take the fact that, and 50 to 60% of the buying public is a 30 something, right? Mid to late 30s are buying a lot of the houses out there. That's the millennial population that is ranging. I think the youngest millennial is something like, what is that? 95, 05, 15, about 26 to 42, 26. Yeah, 26 to about 42 years old are millennials. And when you look at that and you say, gosh, a lot of those millennials are buying houses, and there's 50 more million of them now than then, you'd say, okay, well, we're not going to really experience it too much. But when we recently had, I'm going to pull it up and share my screen, STARK. We recently had the government relations manager and the statistics manager of our local board of realtors come on and talk to us during our team meeting. And he was amazing. He, let's see, here we go. It's here, David Stark. There we go. I'm going to share my screen. And look, even if you are outside of California or not in the Bay Area, these will show you kind of what, if it's happening in the East Bay, it's happening everywhere. The East Bay, for those of you outside of California, is the part of the Bay Area that's across the bay from San Francisco. So it would be Oakland, California to San Jose, California, in and around there. And if you look at this first graph, homes for sale in the East Bay, and you look at, oops, sorry, I'm messing this up. Hold on. Let me move this out of the way. If you look at just this graph, this is the whole East Bay. So it's 2 major counties. And if you look at this and you see that in July of 21, so about a year ago, there were about 1,569 homes for sale in the whole East Bay. And now there's over 3,000, which is double the amount of inventory that there was last year. Now, when you look at that, people were saying, oh, it's low inventory last year. And it wasn't low inventory. If you looked at the years before that, what it was is that there was more buyers buying it. Now, let's take one particular town that is, usually pretty popular town, Fremont, California. I'm born and raised there. It has a population of about 230,000 people. All right. And in January of 2019, there was a little over 100 homes for sale. If you look at December of 2019, there was about 35 to 40 homes for sale. Okay. And then if you look at the next lowest mark ever was December of 2020, where there was barely 25 homes for sale in a city of 230,000 people. Right. And if you look at July of 2022, there's right around 175 homes on the market, which is nearing some of the highest numbers ever. So that gives you statistics on that. Yes, indeed, more and more homes are coming on the market. Now let's forget homes for sale for a minute and go to the next one, which is prices. The median prices if you look right here, a year ago, the median price in the East Bay was $1,202,000. Now remember what median means. Median is the point where half the sales are higher than that and half the sales are lower than that. It is not the average. And then if you look at where we are now, we're only about $50,000 short on the median, but it's in a dropping mode. So it won't be long before it drops lower. If you, that's
hey, Rick,
the median.
Real quick, what is,
yeah.
I can't see that, but what is the number, the price point, $1,200,000 you said?
It was $1,200,000 median sale price in July of 2021. And now it's at about $1,160,000, or July of 2022 it was. That was median sales prices East Bay. And then if you look at this graph, it shows from 2018 to 2022 shows a steady rise from $844 medium sales price all the way to $1,250,000 to, in 2022 for the whole East Bay. Now that's showing a rising point, even if there's been some small dips in between. That's just year to year. And that, when you look at that, the public can think, oh, things are great, nothing's changing. But the fact is they are changing. If you look at median sale prices for the city of Fremont, just look at the drop, right, from $1,600,000 right here. Let's see, it was at $1,800,000. It was at $1,800,000, and now it's at $1,625,000 just in the last couple of months. So think about a $200,000 drop in median sales price. $200,000 in Oklahoma, that would be devastating.
Wait,
right?
Where? Go back up a little bit, Rick. That's the Fremont.
That's just the city of Fremont. In the last 2-3 months, the median sales price has dropped over $200,000 or about $200,000. So the reason I'm sharing those with you is to say we can't stick our heads in the sand. And Ryan, name some of the cities or areas that some of the teams you coach are in. I know that you have a couple of large teams that you coach.
Yeah, so I coach my main team that I coach is Team Fit. They're out of San Francisco. They live in Walnut Creek, actually, in the East Bay area.
Yeah.
But they are out of the San Francisco Compass office. They're a team of 8 or 9. And then I've got an agent, Tatiana, who lives over in the East Bay area. Another one, Nash, in the East Bay. Marissa's in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So most of mine are in Northern California, which is where I've been for the last 10 years, right?
Right. And so they're going to experience some of these things because typically the East Bay and the West Bay mirror each other, just that the West Bay tends to have higher average sale prices, but they tend to mirror each other in activity. Yeah. So you're going to see that your teams are experiencing this stuff. And sometimes, listen to this, I think Ryan will agree with me, the ignorance of these items is okay. In other words, if you're just still out there killing it, like doing your job, Brent said something yesterday about you just have to be an extreme maniac. And he was talking about when he was 100% broke, he had lost everything. And he said, instead of just going to do a 3-hour open house, he did a 12-hour open house. And he'd tell other agents and they go, well, that's a little extreme. And he'd go, hell yeah, it is. I'm broke. Right. So he said, the problem is we don't have a fear risk or a failure risk. We have an ego risk. He said, and I had no ego because I was broke. So instead of worrying about what other people thought about me, I just went maniac. Right. Yeah. And he talked about the importance of ignoring what's going on around you, because in every market, no matter how great or how bad, there's the guy in the one office that's doing nothing. And then there's a guy 2 cubicles down that's killing it. Why? True. It's the same market, right?
And that guy could have been Ryan McCarty in the end of 2007 doing nothing, broke, right? And go, yeah. Oh shit, I've got these 3 little kids. I've got this wife. Like, I have to hustle. And I just beat the pavement and just, not the pavement, but the internet, right? Started applying for REOs. And thank God that turned around. But, I think.
Well, wait a minute. Yes, I'm big on religion. I thank God every night and every morning. However, think about what you did. What did you do? You went into action. You didn't freeze, right? I did a little thing yesterday when I said, look, this is my 5th recession. I had the microphone in my hand and I went, this is how I'm dealing with it. It's no problem, right? Because I've experienced before. And even though you said at the beginning, Ryan, you said, this is only my 2nd one. You went through the mother of all recessions.
Yes.
The one that was both recession-based and man-made because of all the lying and cheating and appraisals and collusion and all this stuff that was discovered later. And you still went out now and tell us about that, because you hustled your butt off online trying to find REOs. Go ahead.
At the time I had a large team, right? Like we had the double truck in Homes and Land magazine. I had 2 business partners and 5 or 6 buyers agents. We were all posed and we looked pretty, we were in that double truck. And when it
wait, I want to, most people, Brian, don't know what a double truck is, but that's 2-page ad inside. When you open the middle of the paper, a double truck was like 2 pages and and everybody was spending money on that kind of stuff. Some of you are too young to remember that, but
we were posing back to back and next to fence things, all the stuff, right? But man, when that market changed and you go from having,
money,
60 deals a year and having money, or 70 deals, whatever I was doing at that point. And then they all start, literally just canceling my land deals. They were, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 commission, just canceling. Yeah. And they're going, we can't build. We're not going to buy anymore because look what's happening to the market, right? And so for me, it was about go in the office, shut the door, right? Turn out all the noise, because I had been listening to the noise for a long time.
Yes. And the noise kills us. The noise is what takes us away from what we must do.
And I'll tell you, the noise came from my peers, Rick. That's what's a shame. I'll say it's a shame, but the noise came from my peers. It came from the REO agents that were already doing it. I'd go to, I could name names, but I won't. I'd go to people in my office and go, hey, is it true that, how do I, and do you apply like, and you're just getting shut down? They go, you're not doing this already? Do you have $200,000 in the bank? Oh, you need reserves. They won't hire you unless you're able to do trash outs and remodels. And so I was like, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to try. And I remember back then my team leader was Amy Constantine. And I said, she said, are you into REOs? I said, I think it's too late. And she said, who told you that? And I told her the names and she said, do you believe them? And do you care? And for me, that was the thing. It's like, sometimes that noise comes from the people that we think we should trust. It's from the people that are doing what we want to do. And maybe we're getting discouragement from them, or who knows what their motivation was around it. And probably a lot of it was true. They probably had a lot of money out. They probably had, and they had been through other recessions. So they had done this before. But for me, it was like, go in the office, REO accounts. Like I just started searching, just started looking, looking at other listings. Where are they at? Who's taking all the listings? Where are they getting them from? And I started applying. I would apply, I would register, I would call every day, right? And I made that person on the phone, whoever would answer, whether it was the receptionist, and that's as far as I could get with Nations REO or whatever REO company, I made it my point to make that person my hero. I was like, listen, I know you get phone calls every day from probably 100 people. I am looking in this specific area of California. What do you have over here and how can I help? What BPOs do you have, right? And so I just probably did what Brent did.
Yeah.
And went gangbusters. I mean, It went crazy. I went from one assignment. My first assignment got assigned to me in January of 2008, and it was in Bakersfield. And if you know where that is from me, that's an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And I like to reach for the fake it till you make it, tool.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, let me find a Keller Williams Bakersfield agent. And I partnered with him and we sold the listing and we went pretty quick. And next thing you know, I'm getting other properties from other companies. And two of my asset companies weren't getting much in my areas, but every time they did, I sold them fast. And I would say, well, what else do you have? What can I BPO for you? What else do you have? What's next, right? Because that asset manager's job is to move those properties as quick as they can, right? And so I thought I need to help them get a raise. Yeah. And I would sometimes say that to them, listen, I don't know how you bonus or what you do or what your incentives are, but obviously the more properties I sell, the better I do. So I'm assuming it's the same way for you. So how do we make a bunch of money and hit our goals, right? Like I would have those kind of conversations. And I remember going, at one time I emailed one of my asset managers, the coolest thing. And her name was April Wilkerson, and write it down. And so April emailed me back one morning. I said, April, I'm so excited, just got this. What else do you have? And she said, Ryan, me and my boss were talking about this. We'd love to give you more, but everything we have is in Northern California. It's super far Southern. It's Sacramento. It's Antioch. It's over here. And I go, well, I'm a broker. And if you like working with me, why don't you assign it to me and I'll build a team that I'll teach them how to do this. I didn't know that would work. I didn't know that she'd believe me, right? Like that she'd trust me, I should say. And I'm telling you, I'd wake up in the morning with an email with 10 assignments and they'd be throughout the state of California. And she'd go, is there any of these that you can't take? And 4 or 3 of them, I was like, oh, I don't even know where these towns are, but let me find someone, right? And that year I ended up closing over 200 transactions in REO. And I would say 85 to 90% of them were properties that I never had seen before, never touched, never BPO'd. An entire team, entire league of people throughout the state were helping me. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun for me back then. I didn't like the foreclosure part and the trash outs and moving people out, but man, it really, it's been a mindset story that I have told for years, because, when you have 3 little kids, and they were little at the time, and a wife that doesn't work, and you wanted it that way, and you're used to making $250,000, $300,000 a year, and all of a sudden it's October, November, and your deals just start dropping. You kind of don't have a choice. Either you stick your head in the sand, or you just stick your shovel in the sand, right? And you start digging a deeper well, and that's what I did. And yeah, Rick, I do thank God for it, because, I thank God for everything, all the success. But, you know, and it was the hard work. It was just, and mindset is where it started, believing that I could do it, you know. And so right now, when I'm talking to my team and people and the agents that I coach about, and this is why I was on the phone with later last night with Marissa, is what's going on in your market. Like, are you starting to see an uptick in REO? Are you starting to see price drops? Are you seeing a $200,000? How can we argue that the market may not get beat up if we're seeing that's called beat up, a $200,000 reduction in a median price, right? Like, that is, like you said, if that was Oklahoma, it annihilates the market, right? So I'm helping my agents like really stay focused. We're starting to have conversations about REO. We're starting to talk about applying for them. They are resistant right now because they've been in the market that they've been in for so long. And I think a lot of realtors, a lot of people want to believe that, well, there's no reason for the market to tank. Well, I don't know, an interest rate jumping 2 or 3 points, that kind of hurts, right? So I'm just trying to focus with my agents on having a pulse on the market. But right now, and what I've been doing for the last several years with them, and I don't know if I'm sure you've heard of Ninja Selling, Rick, right? So
Ninja Selling from Colorado, Larry Johnson or
Larry Kendall.
Kendall.
So it's a book, Ninja Selling, right? A little white book with the butterfly on it, you know, looks harmless. And I went to this seminar back in 2017 when I was recruited from KW to Paragon in San Francisco before they became Compass. And they brought in Ninja. And, you know, Rick, like you, and I'm sure you've been to 3 or 4 times the amount of stuff I've been to, probably more, but, you know, I've been to a lot of seminars, you know, and I've been to Bold over and over again. And I thought, let's see how this compares. Like, is this going to be the same thing? And what I'll tell you is Ninja really resonated with me on a very high level, because one of the things that the instructor said that caught my attention is he asked all of us, who's been to all of these things, right? Bold and Tony Robbins, all the things. And he said, you know, the difference between a lot of other coaching programs and what we do here at Ninja is a lot of other coaching programs, and it's fine, they teach you how to become comfortable being uncomfortable. He said, what we want to do here at Ninja, our goal is helping you become more comfortable in who you are and the way you get the business and how you earn the business, right? So we're less scripted, we're more processed, right? And so I've been focused ever since I went to that seminar. I'm going to another one at the end of this month. It's been probably my 4th or 5th. Everything about Ninja I'm just in love with. And what it does for me and my clients is it really helps. You know, my favorite quote from Ninja is, when you're drilling for water, it's better to dig a 100-foot well than it is 101-foot wells. And when I heard that quote, I saw in my mind a visual of that quote. And I saw the realtor running from well to well to well to well to well to well to well with their shovel, with their bucket, right? Trying to figure out where their leads are, looking at on the horizon, going, where is my next deal? I just closed escrow, or I just ratified. What am I doing? And I had been that person for so long, you know, every time you close a deal, every time you ratify, every time you take a listing, you're going, oh no, where's the next one? Where's the next one? And what Ninja taught me was that really all the business we really need is right underneath our nose, right? And because statistically, what we know from NAR, because they go out there and run the numbers, we know that throughout the nation, everyone knows 10.2 realtors, right? Everyone knows every household knows 10.2 realtors. But if you looked at the East Bay, now back when I was working there and ran the numbers, it was on average 20 realtors. Every household knows on average 20 realtors. And I would like to say they don't know them, right? They know of 20 realtors. So they may not be top of mind, but if they audited who they know, they go, oh, I do know 20 realtors, right? And with Ninja, it's about top of mind, frequency of interaction, right? Flow. How do I stay in flow with this person? How do I dig a deeper well in this relationship? How do I dig around this relationship? How do I dig around this event? And instead of looking up every time, right? I mean, a lot of agents, right? You start your business and you get your first referral, and you get an open house lead, and then another referral, and they refer you someone. And then you take your money and you go, I'm going to invest that in Zillow, and I'm going to invest that in realtor.com. And what I'm teaching the people I work with and have for the last few years is put that on hold. Go spend money on the people that made you money, right? What would it look like if you said, hey, Bob, or hey, Rick, I'd love to take you and Casey and me and my partner out to dinner. I've got a table for 8 over here at in Walnut Creek at so-and-so restaurant. It's my favorite place. And I would love for you to bring 4 of your best friends. Let's celebrate. It's been a year since you moved in. It's been a month since you moved in. It's been whatever. We need to be in front of other people. What we know is people are looking for an experience, right? They're not even they don't care so much about how many you sold or how much you did this year. That's more for you, right? What they care about is, how do you make me feel? How did this feel? Was this fun? Was this enjoyable? Was this stressful, right? And did you care, right? And so I like to really dig into Ninja and dig that deeper well by really staying in more, communication, right? They want the experience. How does it feel? A couple of years ago, I went to a luxury retreat, and the founder was up there, and she said, we've done the research, and what the affluent are looking for is in their real estate transaction is the experience. How does it feel? And then she began to talk about first class, right? And those that fly first class. And this has resonated with me so much. And she said, so you get on the plane, and she said, you've got the option first class, or you can sit in coach, right? And most people pay coach, right? Most people sit in coach. They sit in the back of the plane, and they walk past the people that pay $2,000 or $3,000 more to get to the same place. Why did those people pay $2,000 or $3,000 more to get to the same place? The experience, right? They want that little bit bigger bag of peanuts. They want that real cup for their drink. They want
excuse me, they're warmed up.
They're warm. Okay, sorry. They want that experience, right? And I don't know about you, but I want to work with the affluent, and I want to create those experiences, right? Where they remember me and they feel like that was a first-class experience, right? And so while I'm talking to my clients about the market and being aware and sharing my past war stories, success stories of the REO days that I honestly did love, I'm also keeping them really focused on their pipeline, right? They have a hot list, they have a warm list, and we also have a wish list, right? And my conversations with them, whether it's every week or every other week, is we touch the pipeline. And it is move one, add one. How do I move one from warm to hot? How do I move one from my wish list to my warm list? And how do I add someone new to this list? If every day we're being aware of, I just need to dig a deeper well. I just need to put my shovel back in the dirt and stop looking to dig another hole, right? And that visual that I started to share is I see realtors running, and when you say that 100-foot well versus 101-foot wells, I see the realtor with their bucket and their shovel going from Zillow to Realtor.com to open houses to Facebook to this to that to all of these different sources where we can get water, if you will, and get leads. But what are we missing that's right underneath our nose? And I think for me, if we know that every household knows on average 10.2 or in the Bay Area 20 realtors, how much more do we need to stay top of mind? But is top of mind a magnet on your fridge? Is top of mind a call in the morning that says, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? Or is staying top of mind really being focused on their Ford, right? Their family, their occupation, their recreation, their dreams? Is it understanding? I mean, Rick, every time I talk to you, I'm like, oh my God, like you're traveling and congrats on your awards. Like we have Facebook that shows us inside of everyone's life and world, right? It's connection, right? What can we use? What do we know? And I'm always teaching them, when you're working on your pipeline, what's their Ford? Everyone has a Ford. What's their Ford? So when you bump into someone at Starbucks, you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen them in so long. What's their Ford? How's your daughter? How's your wife? How's your dog? How's the new house? How's the new gig, right? Just having that connection instead of what I think a lot of us have been taught to do is, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? How's your mom? Oh, that's great. Oh, let me ask you, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell, right? And I think that's still a habit of people. And they're still looking for that sell rather than looking to contribute and looking to really nurture the people that are right underneath their nose, right? So while I do think we need to be looking at the REO world and seeing what's going on there and foreclosures and keeping our pulse on that, I think there are enough people that we know already, based off of another statistic, that every household in the nation knows 1 to 2 people that will buy or sell every year. That's throughout the nation. So you may know 100 households in the Bay Area and 50 of them know people that bought in another state. That's fine, right? But are we in consistent flow with the people? And it doesn't need to be all 100. Are we in consistent flow with 10, right? Do we have our lead sources? Do we have our campaigners, right? How do we turn our clients and our contacts into campaigners for us, right? Where they're at work and they hear someone in the cubicle say, I'm thinking about selling, or I've been thinking about buying, but rates are so high. And they're going to sit up and go, oh my God, you got to call Ryan. I just had dinner with him last night, or I just saw him last night and he told me about rates, right? So that's what I'm focused on with my clients is really helping them dig a deeper well. And I know it sounds basic or simple, and it is, because there's enough business out there right underneath our nose from the people that we know. We just have to find it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm focused on with my, you know, with my people right now.
Dude, Ryan, I got to tell you, it was difficult getting you on in the beginning, and you've made it more than worth our while to wait for you to get on your phone and tell us this. This is amazing. I took all kinds of notes. And I just want to ask you a couple of questions. I wrote hot list, warm list, wish list, move one, add one. I thought that right there, if that was all I got out of the call today, that would be life-changing enough for me. Meaning, who's your hot list of people that you know got to buy or sell, and I'm going to move them. And then who's warm that I can move to hot. And then the wish list, that's crazy. Like, I used to have a wish list, I remember, and I let it go. I would look up people that own multiple properties in Fremont when I was a younger agent and say, oh, look, this guy has 11 properties, man. I got to get on his list to be his realtor, right?
Yeah.
That's so good that you brought that back up again. And you just got you used the word flow, but you were in a flow right there just talking. And I want to relate what you said about your drive to get REOs to just about the drive you had to get business, whether it was REO or not. And people are saying there'll be a lot less REOs. Who cares? There'll be a lot less, but still get your unfair share. Yeah. It's still another source of business. And
listen,
all of that.
I sold 200 that year. I'll sell 100 if you want to do less. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So thank you for that. I'm glad to know that this is resonating with you. You know, one of the other things that I wrote down that, you know, what's cool is, you know, I haven't been to a ninja seminar in a couple of years.
Yeah. And Betty's going to go. Betty, who's on here, who works for Keller Williams in sort of the Ventura area, is going to be heading to a ninja selling in September for the first time.
Oh, nice.
She said it in the chat.
Yeah, Betty, you'll have to reach out to me. We'll figure out how to connect. I would love that. I'm going to one in Modesto. So it's not Hawaii, but it's Modesto. I'm kidding, guys. Who lives in Modesto? I'm sorry.
That's
it's
all right.
Basically, it's the Antelope Valley, right?
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same as here. So I've always said I'm going to go to one in Hawaii. That never works out, and I don't know that I would pay attention while I'm there. So, but what I'm focused. One of my coaching clients yesterday, she had just joined the team that I'm coaching, right? And so I give them some kind of fundamental first things to do. And one of them is the book or listen to the Ninja audio. Yeah. And yesterday she said, I love this. You know, it's like the book said, you're helping me be a ninja and not a samurai. And I was like, oh, wait, I haven't heard that for a couple of years. Yeah. Let's talk about that. Like, what does that mean to you? And she's like, well, you know, I think being a ninja is about like being, you know, like not obvious, but being, you know, she was kind of like giving her explanation. And that's what ninja teaches us is ninja is about being in the room, but not being in the room, right? Being top of mind, but not being in your face, right? And so how am I a ninja? How is it the magnet on my fridge? Or is it the fact that every time they think about real estate or getting new countertops or painting their walls, they think maybe I should call Ryan because if I paint these walls blue, will my house sell next year? I better check with my realtor, right? I want to become their proactive, trusted advisor, right? And how do I do that? By sitting back and setting a magnet? No, I need to know their Ford. I need to know what's going on, right? And so A ninja, not a samurai for me, right? We know what samurais do. They walk in the room and they annihilate things, right? They take their machete out or whatever that knife is called, and they just samurai things. They're very skilled, but they're samurais. Versus ninjas are planned and they're purposeful, right? And they're contributing, and that is for me, ninja versus samurai. I just love that. And so yes, back to the hot wish, warmless wish list. Rick, you know, Ninja was the one who put it back in my face, the hot wish warm list. And I remember when I was with them, was when I went to that session is when I went to Paragon. And so I was there to teach Ninja after I learned it, right? So I adopted everything that resonated with me plus some, and I was like, I'm using this. And I remember doing my pipeline going, well, these 3 recruits don't fit on my warm list and they don't fit on my hot list because I've met with them before and they've told me that they're going to stay with, you know, Compass, or they're going to stay wherever they're at. They love me and they love the connection and they love to have coffee, but they're really happy at Compass, or they're really happy at Sotheby's, or they're really happy at whatever company, Hill, whatever company they were at the time. I'm like, I don't want them sitting in my CRM because out of sight, out of mind. They need to be there. I need the data in my CRM, right? That's the heavy lifting. And this CRM doesn't keep very much data, right? So I need them to show up. So I created the wish list, because for me, those people that I was trying to recruit that said, hey, I love you, you're great, but I'm never going to leave my company. Or if something ever happened, if the company closed, I'd call you, right? Those went on my wish list. But I was active with those wish lists. I would think, how do I warm them up, right? Do I need to contribute by helping or offering coaching to them about their team? Do I need to disc them in their team? Could I show, what is it that's going on in their world and their business that I can contribute while wishing, right? Because I think the difference is you can sit back and wish, but are you touching that? Are you looking and going, how do I move this person? You know, and with realtors, I say, okay, so your wish list is, maybe I have a boss from a former life that has this, you know, $3 million house on 2 acres over here. And he doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to sell that house for him. Right. Or he's asked me before how much it was worth, but I think he'll use someone else, but I don't know. Put them on your wish list. And I think what happens is our lives and our experiences and our it makes room for them if we're focused on it. Right. So, and for me, that move one, add one of my clients, Tatiana, I started with her 2 months ago, and she said, probably about a month in, you know, and doing that hot list, warm list, wish list, sometimes they're like, really, this is it, you know, and then they start doing it. And I remember Tatiana came to me and she said, we were on the phone, and she said, the pipeline, I call it the pipeline, has become my favorite thing to do. Every day, all I have to do is look at it and go, move one, add one, move one, add one, move one, add one, right? And as I'm out there grabbing coffee, or I'm at a restaurant, or I have a drink at a bar, I'm thinking, move one, add one. Does this person belong on my pipeline? How do I touch this person, right? We're starting to talk about 8x8s and all those other things. But I think right now it's just creating that momentum. And for me, it's digging a deeper well, right? And I love that you had a wish list before too. That does not surprise me about you, but I think it's good to take it out of and it needs to be in our face, you know. Yeah. For me, it's a spreadsheet, you know, that back then when I was recruiting, I had it printed. It was in the top of my drawer so I could see it, right? Right. You got to do whatever works for you, you know. Yeah. But I do think, you know, the CRM is heavy lifting. Our brain obviously can't keep it all and remind us every day. So if we had just the hot list, warm list, wish list pipeline, that's really your vital signs, I think. Mm-hmm. That really you look at that and you go, how do I feel about this? Do I need to get working on this? Do I, you know, am I broke? Right. So this is awesome.
This is awesome. And so guys, first, I tell people all the time, there's no recruiting, no selling on this call, but I do want to sell Ryan a little bit. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for years. He helped me out in some of my hardest times when I had my Antioch Keller Williams office, and he went on to do even greater things from there. but Ryan is an incredible coach. So Ryan, a couple of things. I've taken a lot of notes. If somebody wants to talk to you about your coaching or, you know, hiring you or anything like that, or even just get a hold of you, would you, I know it's tough on the phone, so I'll put it in there. Can I put in the email that I send out to everybody, can I put your cell phone and email address or what? Or do you have a way that you prefer people get a hold of you?
No, cell phone. Just best thing for me is cell phone. Text me, call me.
Okay. And then I'm putting, guys, I took a lot of notes in the chat. If you haven't looked at them, there's a link to buy the Ninja Selling book. There's some notes on what Ford means. Ryan used the term Ford quite a bit. Ryan, what's your cell phone?
415-987-4198.
Okay, it's putting in the chat, guys. And then your email is realtorryan@msn.com or?
Real Estate Ryan
at msn.com. Real Estate Ryan at msn.com. Okay, got it. Real estate, yep, it's all in there. It looks correct. I know it's tough to see on your phone, Ryan, but I put it in there. And then we'll put all of that into the letter, the email that we send out with the recording before our next call. So Ryan, you're suggesting that read the book, first of all, create a hot list, warm list, wish list, stay top of mind with people. I love the analogy of the samurai versus the ninja. You know, I've spoken to Larry. He's been on calls that we've been on as coaches at the same time, but I've never read the book, and I feel horrible that I haven't now after hearing about it for so many years.
Oh, you'll love it.
Yeah. So I just purchased it literally. So it's going to come, and then I'm going to buy it on Audible so I can hear it also. Yeah. So I want to thank you, Ryan. I know that you are busy. You got a lot going on. You're getting ready to go on a business trip with some of your coaching clients. We appreciate the time and energy that you took today. And I know Betty very well. She's amazing. I hope you two will connect when you, Betty, if it's okay with you, I'll send a group text and introduce you to Ryan, since you guys are both personal friends of mine. Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Ryan. Have an incredible, yeah. And I appreciate it. I just love that. Once you got going, dude, you were rolling. I'm like, I'm not going to interrupt. He is rolling right now. So good stuff. And guys, everybody let Ryan know your thoughts and appreciation, and everybody have a great weekend. And we'll see you on the first Friday of September, which will be Friday, September 2nd. It is the beginning of Labor Day weekend, but we're still going to have, of course, our first Friday of the month free Friday coaching call. So I urge you to join us that day. Take care, and everybody have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, Rick.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Great information. Bye.